Hey, 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 hey. Whoa, that's loud. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, man? Thank you so much. Hype train on the intro. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. How's everyone doing? Uh, wow. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you so much. I'll just call them out now. There were subs and bits right here in the beginning, which started Hype Train. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Where I'll start back a little bit because there were some follows right before I started the stream. So Mr. Clayton, Can Junk, and Mozunk, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Mafney, resub, tier 1, 32 months, 32 month streak. Man, almost 3 years. Thank you so much. Full-time Tim, we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll talk about today. Now that things are I don't know. I've talked about them a little bit, but maybe I haven't. But we'll talk about that for sure here in a few. Torquemada, Woot, thank you so much. Prime, 13 months, 1 month streak. Thank you so much. Piece of Geek, cheer, 100 bits. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Darren 7, resub, Prime, 7 months, 1 month streak. Thank you so much. Hello, how's it going? Mr. Root, resub, tier 1, 13 months, 13 month streak. Wow, year and a day. Year and a month. Thank you so much. Happy midsummer. It just started according to the calendar. But happy summer to you too. It feels like midsummer. Especially considering the weather. It's been rather warm here. I'll say that much. It's been a lot warmer. It's felt like midsummer and end of summer here versus the beginning of summer, which now it's, I guess, summer's just beginning. So it's been warm and humid and dry. So it's been kind of weird here in Minnesota. I'm sure it's been weird a lot of places. As I watch the weather and watch the news, it is it is bad. So anyways, I hope you got good weather. I hope you do. I think we have a break in the weather coming. I think tomorrow the high is only 75, so it goes down for a couple of days. So I'm all for it. I like having the windows open. I like it when it gets down to 50s at night. I don't know, that's just me. But anyways, thank you all so much for the hype train, and I appreciate it. So, yeah, we're gonna hop in. We're gonna talk about chat. If you have something you want to share, something you want to talk about, or something you want to let me know, or something you're excited about in tech, let me know. Throw it in chat, and I will definitely get to it. Just letting you know that today I will end on time for the most part. I have dinner plans with a couple of friends, and I got to make sure that I'm on time. So yeah, I start a little late, I'll end a little late, but I'll make sure that I don't end really late. But then also I want to be respectful of your time. I try to keep it right around an hour, so, you all have things to do, I'm sure, and you would probably like to do them. So yeah, anyways, so let's talk about, I guess, I don't know, maybe the elephant in the room or whatever. Mafney mentioned it, a few others have mentioned it. So what have I been up to? That's what I'll answer first. Well, first of all, what I've been up to, last week I had to cancel the stream. I apologize. Things are going to be changing with that too. But I had to cancel it last week because I had to work on the video to get the video out, which I got out on Sunday. And that video was all about talking about my mobile home lab, which is actually more like a mobile router access point with virtualization, with apps. It's a lot of things. But basically, think of it like Proxmox with an access point built in that you can take with you. And so, for the last, couple of years, at least couple of years, I've always brought with me a travel router. It's actually back there. This Linksys travel router that I always bring with me. Why? Because, if I go to an Airbnb or somewhere that supplies internet that gives me an Ethernet cable, I plug that in so that I can broadcast my own SSID and, put a little firewall up and make sure that all the devices I carry with me automatically connect. I never have to change my username and password or my WPA key. And so all of my devices connect. And then, as time went on, I started bringing more stuff with me, like small things, like a Raspberry Pi. I brought that with me because I'm like, why not? I want to have Pi-hole too. And and then I installed Plex on there, and that was great for not transcoding, but, some TVs I plug it into aren't 1080p, which I have most of my media at home, so then it was transcoding, and it wouldn't keep up. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see, real quick. Alcaferis, thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So then, it just evolved like most things at home. My home lab has evolved over time, and my travel lab, I guess, that's probably a better name for it. My travel lab has evolved over time. And then, I started, this doesn't even sound like I'm traveling anymore, but I have an old Apple TV that I don't have plugged in anymore. And I was like, hey, I'll just bring this. Like, this is pretty cool because then it has all my TV stuff. I just plug it in their TV and, I'm almost like I'm at home. So anyways, as I started bringing more and more stuff, I realized that, hey, this would be pretty cool if I could keep it all on one device. And that's when I had an extra device, kind of, sort of, that was given to me. And I installed it on there and got it working. So I don't know. It's gonna evolve for sure. Like, mobile games, you name it, and more entertainment for sure. But that's the cool thing about having basically a travel version of Proxmox is you can do anything with it. And I'm sure you guys have questions about Proxmox too, because 8 was just released. So anyways, that's kind of what I've been working on. I don't want to say the business side or the YouTube side, the things that you guys usually see. And then something else that has changed with me recently, and I mean, is, I posted something on Instagram and I was just saying and LinkedIn, just, thanking the company that I guess kind of previously worked for. And thanking them and thanking, this company that I had helped start for all they have done, and that I was no longer, a full-time employee there. and for those that follow me, I guess personally, not as, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you get the real Tim, me, and not the, sometimes you don't get the YouTube Techno Tim. So I'm still trying to figure out how I separate all these personalities. Pretty soon it'll just be one. And that's part of today's, I guess, announcement. I don't want to make it all formal and stuff like that, because then there's expectations. Long story short, I'm no longer doing software development full time, which means I have more time to do the stuff I want to do. And the stuff I want to do, I have it bucketed out in a couple of groups. One is still do software development. So I'm no longer a software developer full time. I'm now a part-time software developer and also a part-time content creator, YouTuber, whatever. And then also some other part-time stuff as well. So it doesn't sound as exciting as like, hey, I'm going full-time YouTube, because I'm not. But hey, I have, I'm more invested now. I have more time to do more YouTube and do more live streaming and do more content creation than I do for software development. So I know it kind of, I don't want to water it down because it's super exciting for me. And like, I'm downplaying it a lot, but it's a huge change for me. It's a huge change. I've been trying to figure out how I can bucket things up, especially the work that I do. If you've seen, the weird questions about Trello and all this stuff about work management and stuff in Discord, that's because I'm trying to, I'm trying to still treat my day-to-day like I have for software development, for years. You have goals, you have things you want to go after over the next whatever month, week, whatever your sprints are. You bucket up that work, you plan for it, and then you execute on it. And so I'm treating this as very similar to that. So long story short, I guess I'm working for myself now. That's probably the best way to put it. I am working for myself 100% now. And I am still taking up software development jobs. I still have I still have some work that I do per week, some work that I do per hours per week, which is super nice, because that will still put food on the table if the YouTube stuff doesn't work out. But then for everything else, it's whatever I want to do, which can be dangerous. I found myself yesterday like optimizing my website, for SEO and for image, like optimizing and tuning all of my images so that they download faster and they progressively load. Like, probably shouldn't have spent 4 hours on that now that I'm working for myself. So anyways, but yeah, long story short, you're going to see some changes. Hopefully they're all positive changes. But for the most part, that's the length of my announcement. I mean, there's other things too that I have coming up. But hopefully what it means for you and what it means for me is more of the things that I love to do, which is YouTube, which is writing documentation, believe it or not. I think those words have never been spoken, but I really enjoy it. And that's why I put so much time into my website. I flipped some stuff around. My documentation site is no longer at docs.technotim.live. It's right on the homepage because I'm like, why not? I mean, that's what I want people to see. So, and there are other projects coming. I'm working with different brands coming up, and a lot of cool stuff coming up too. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited. So this wasn't about this. This stream wasn't meant to be about that, but people had already asked and blame Maffney. No, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, I need to get into my groove. I'm not in my groove yet because this past week that passed was the first one where I actually kind of had my groove, but we had Juneteenth and that kind of threw things off. That holiday threw things off. So now I think next week is my first one where I'm fully in the groove, and we'll see what that means. Hopefully I don't go down too many rabbit holes. I've been down rabbit holes on other people's watches, but sometimes I have to limit it when I'm on my own watch. But anyways, so yeah, it's exciting for me. It's exciting for me. I'm nervous. I get nervous about a lot of things. I'm pretty conservative when it comes to making big changes. I think things out. I think about everything that could go wrong and all the things that could go right, and I felt like, it's a good time. It's a good time to try this on my own. And so, I'm fortunate enough where my wife has a job, and she has good insurance. And it is summer. And the company that acquired the startup that I work for acquired us. And so I just felt like it's a good time to try something on my own. And I thought, you know what? If I don't do this, like, I'm totally going to beat myself up for the rest of my life. And as soon as I had that thought even creep into my head, I thought, no way. I'm not going to live like that. I have too many regrets already. Throughout my life. And I thought, yeah, this is not going to be a regret. So anyways, we're going to talk about you guys. I promise. I'd rather talk about you because I get nervous when I talk about myself or what I'm doing and stuff like that. I don't know, especially with like personal stuff too. Cause a lot of you see, what you see on YouTube or what you hear from me on Discord, So when I start talking about I'm, jobs, when I start talking about jobs, that's where I know I'm like kind of getting into personal stuff. So it's it's a little bit uncomfortable for me sometimes, but it's okay. It's okay. I like it. I like being uncomfortable. It helps me grow, depending on how uncomfortable I feel, though. And what the topic is. I'll throw that caveat in there, too. So anyways, yeah. Oh, man. Thank you so much. Crack Kitty, how's it going? Thank you so much. Oh, I missed a couple. Resub, Prime, 20 months. Wow, 20 months. Go, Tim. Thank you so much, Crack Kitty. I appreciate it. Thank you. I realized I moved my camera and I need to stand off to this side because I'm not in the center of the screen. Crack Kitty, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Salvarius, how's it going? Thank you so much. Resub, Tier 1, 25 months. Let's go, man. 2 years, 1 month. Thank you so much. Alk Ferris, thank you for the sub. Prime sub, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think I mentioned that one. I did. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much. M Stu GT has subscribed. Prime, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So yeah, so that's the extent of my announcement. I wish it was more exciting. Like, hey, I'm going full-time YouTube. It's kind of that, but at the same time, I still have hours dedicated to being a software engineer because like I mentioned, I need to put food on the table still because and software engineering pays good, and so leaving software engineering to do YouTube is unless you're cranking on all cylinders and getting videos out on a timely manner, like there's going to be a dip in pay and to where it maybe might come back up. So we'll see. I don't know. This is one big life experiment. So anyways, but I appreciate you guys and your comments. So yeah, so let's get into chat. I know who was here first. It was Maffney. And I was testing my chat earlier. And I was testing my chat and testing this overlay. One thing I've started to do more often is test things before I go live. And then I cleared chat with my tests. But Maffney, how's it going? So he copied and pasted it and threw a twist on it. I appreciate it. How's it going, Maffney? Thanks again for the resub. Zero Cool Goss. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. PC Geek. Music is really low. I could turn it up a tiny bit. I kind of want it low. Maybe that's a little bit better. That okay? I turned it down extra low this time only because yeah. Oh, during the intro, I appreciate it. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I noticed too. Thank you. Uh, let's see. Sup boys? So we got Akira, Kira, Itachi. Sup boys? What's going on? Vinny. How y'all nerds doing? I'm doing good. It's funny how like when I was younger, nerd was like I was always called a nerd. Like growing up, I was a big nerd. I still am. But like growing up, like nerd, like you it was something like I don't want to say derogatory, but it was like, you know, a cut down for someone to call you a nerd. Now when people call me a nerd, I'm like, thank you. Because I absolutely am 100%. But I remember growing up, you know, I had a lot of nicknames because I had curly hair, because I was super tall, because I was nerdy, because I had braces, because I was overweight for a while. I had lots of names. So nerd is actually a really good one. I'll stick with it. Takano somehow ended up with less Ethernet cables than when I started. Hey, wait, what's going on? Did I miss? Oh, pretty good. Oh, I missed this one because I saw that in there. Hey, Zero Cool Gas GOS. Thanks for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Takano, pretty good. Reorganized my whole server rack. And then that's where you say somehow you ended up with less Ethernet cables than when you started. Ooh, yeah, that's tough. I'm betting you patched. So I'm betting one of your machines had dual NICs and you patched both of them, or one of your machines had quad NICs and you patched all four. That's my final offer. That's usually what happens to me, and they're tough to track down. Well, actually, it's kind of okay to track down. No, it stinks to track down. Because I was going to say you could turn on, you know, obviously the switch is going to light up the link light on all of your devices, but your link light will be lit on them all. If you have switch port labels, start disabling or look for ones that aren't labeled. I'm pretty bad about labeling switch ports. I'm actually good at labeling switch ports. I'm really bad at changing them. So yeah, don't only create labels for your switch ports. Be sure you update them over time, because I have labels that are just like talking about machines that I don't even know anymore. And clear them out too. Good day. Hi. Hey all. How's it going? Let's see. Vinny. Nice to have. Nice. I have yet to get there. Still operating off my first Raspberry Pi. Waiting on a house. Awesome. Yeah, the Raspberry Pi is a good way to go if you can get one. Good way to go until you get your first house. There's also a lot of mini PCs that are out there now that are super capable too. You might even reconsider getting a server. I mean, if you throw out like redundancy and ILO or any of your IPMI or anything like that, like you're not going to get that. But if you want a low power device and you actually want to be able to do something on it too, like transcoding or whatever, there's a lot of low power devices out there for only a few bucks more than what you would pay for a Raspberry Pi all in. So it's pretty interesting. Interesting times we're in for sure. Mongstead, hey Tim, hope you're doing great. Any experience with NTP? Oh, and how to get IceCast, Shoutcast servers, clients in sync. Any experience with NTP? Yeah, I've had a little bit of experience with NTP. I run my own internal NTP server before. And I've used the NTP client to then consume NTP from all of those, or from my NTP server. I would recommend against running your own NTP server. I mean, this is probably unpopular opinion. I would recommend against it unless you have a device internally that has a hardware clock, like a real hardware clock. And so the way I messed up in the past is, you know, I did it on a virtual machine, and that internal virtualized clock can get off sync. So I would do it. Some switches have it. A lot of older switches have it. Maybe newer ones too. You know, Unify doesn't have one, but I think Cisco switches, and there's probably a handful of others that have a clock set. If you're gonna do an internal, I would just say go external. Go external. There's all kinds you can use. There's ntp.gov. There's the pool. There's Windows. There's Cloudflare. There's Mac. Everybody has their own time server, and so I would probably go with that route because it's gonna be right and it's gonna be up. But if you're air gapped and you can only do it internally, make sure you're gonna use something that has a hardware clock on it too. Raspberry Pis don't unless you get like a hat that has a hardware clock on it. I know it because that little LED panel back there that lights up sometimes, the hat that came with it also came with a hardware clock, which was pretty cool. So anyways, so if you're talking about setting up the server, yeah, you can make sure you have a hardware clock. But if you have an older switch, your switch might have it and might have a hardware clock. I would go that route. But ultimately I would just say use time.nist.gov or whatever country you're in, or Cloudflare or time.windows.com or pool.ntp.org. There's so many. And then as far as Icecast Shoutcast server and the clients in sync, I mean, I would just make sure that they're all synced to the same NTP server, and then you win. I used to host it internally. I gave up on that. I do it externally now. So, because like, hey, if I'm pointing to time.nist.gov and there's something wrong there, we got big problems. Bigger than my home lab. So, but yeah, choose one appropriate to you, and sprinkle on whatever privacy you wanna sprinkle on too, because all of those requests are logged. So. AKL Ferris, working on figuring out backing up Proxmox to my current TrueNAS. Awesome. It's pretty straightforward. As you probably know, if you're going to use NFS, super easy. That's what I do. It's exactly what I do. That's how I back up my VMs. Now, backing up the server itself, a little bit different. And I wish that Proxmox would add this feature, but it's a little bit harder. And what it boils down to is you got to back up all your config files, which kind of stinks. They should have a way to just back it up, like create a tarball, create an archive, tar it up, send it somewhere. Like, I don't know, object storage, or even just tar it up and put it on local disk and put it somewhere. Rather not have that. If you're going to do an MVP, okay, that'll work. But I would rather not have that. Tar it up and either email it, or tar it up, or NFS it, or tar it up, and then object storage would be my number one pick. Or NFS, because I already have NFS connected. But anyways, you're probably talking about VMs. So, but if you're talking about the server configuration itself, I would just Google it, look at it. There's a great guide that's out there. I think it's basically just backup etc PVE, I think, the whole thing. It's your best bet, because you want all of your configs and network configs and stuff like that you can at least look at. I don't think I would replace a machine. If I ever built a new one, I would just look at it to replace it and compare. Let's see. Also ended up getting some new Sennheisers. HD6000s. Nice. Sennheisers, nice. I still have a pair. I have a pair out over there. I wish I could wear my Sennheisers more, but I usually wear these because they have a microphone built in. So when I do Zoom calls, I don't have to worry about mic headphone combo. Nice. Let's see. Junior Nunes. I'm going with Nunes. That sounds better. Hey y'all, what's up? First live stream. Welcome here. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. AKL Ferris. I'm just going to say Ferris from now on. I'm playing around with all my IEMs, wanting to convert one of my Thea audios to wireless. I don't know what IEMs are, and you want to convert into wireless. Sounds awesome. So I assume it's studio headphones or speakers. I'm just guessing, but awesome. Sounds fun. Geek Almighty. Hey, updated Proxmox. Yeah, I bet a lot of people are. So yeah, Proxmox 8 is out. I haven't done it yet. PC Geek beat me to it. Usually I do it, and PC Geek's like, yeah, I wait about a month on this. So I was like, I'm going to take PC Geek's advice this time, and I'm going to wait about a month on this. And then I see in Discord, he's like, yep, did it already. I was like, what? The thing just came out like yesterday. But anyways, awesome. So huge, he did YOLO the update. I know. I was like, dude, what is going on here? Usually I'm on the hype train for getting updates as soon as they come out, and you're on the conservative path, on the slow ring, like I gotta wait until SP1 type thing. The roles are reversed, and I was gonna wait either way. And now that a lot of people are doing it, I might only because like I pass through like a ton of hardware on my machines, and it's like if that messes up, I'm kind of screwed rebuilding the whole thing. So I'll let you guys beta test it, like most comments say when something new comes out, as if it hasn't been beta tested already. So anyways, yeah, so 8 is out. I noticed there's, a handful of fixes and a handful of features. I think the biggest thing and Well, one, yeah, the biggest thing is that there aren't any huge features. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of improvements and fixes, but I think the main reason why they did a major release on this one to go to 8 was because it's based on the new Debian, which is I think Bookworm. So yeah, but timing is interesting though, because I was like, huh, because at first I was like, great, like I tracked it in beta and I thought maybe they're gonna, maybe they're not talking about some features that they're going to add in before it's final. And no, they were just like, nope, we're shipping it, which I appreciate. I appreciate it because upgrades like deployment should be often and boring. That's my that's my motto for deploying software. Often and boring. That's how it should be. The longer you wait, the harder it gets and the more interesting it gets. So I'm a huge fan of CD, continuous delivery. But often and boring, because the more often you do them, the more boring they are. And then that forces you to make your commit smaller and make your pull requests smaller and make your features smaller and just continuously updating things over time. But anyways, so yeah, I haven't gone yet. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. I think tomorrow. Sigor, hi everyone. How's it going, Sigor? Good to see you. Let's see. Kira. Itachi. I'm just going to say Itachi because that's fun to say. Hey, I'm wondering if Tim ever covered why he decided to go with Proxmox instead of ESXi or Hyper-V. Yeah, I have, but I can summarize it real quick. I've used ESXi for a long time. I used Hyper-V for a long time. I used to go back and forth between those. And then I didn't like the way that Microsoft was doing stuff with Hyper-V. Not necessarily that it was a bad hypervisor. It was just like, I wanted a web client. I didn't want to like install like their Hyper-V thing and on workstations. That was so hard to do unless you had a domain and unless you like hacked their security model so you could load the client. So then I went all in with ESXi. I did that for a while because they had the HTML5 client come out and I was like, sweet, I can control stuff from the web. I don't need to install like their thick client in order to do this. And then they released like 6 and 7, and they dropped hardware support for a lot of stuff. And I was like, oh, that kind of stinks. So then I started searching for like ISOs with, repacked ISOs with drivers for my motherboard. And I was like, this doesn't feel very good or safe. Nothing against those ISOs, but just, that idea in general, taking an unofficial source for, an operating system just didn't sit with me well. And so they were deprecating lots of hardware on every release. They were limiting their home version to only four virtual cores on any one machine. And that's when I decided, I'm going to search for what else is out there. So I did like a ton of evaluation. I went through Proxmox, went through XCP&G, a couple other ones, and I thought, Proxmox is pretty nice. And then that was around the time when I needed to pass through a video card. And I thought, well, at the time, XCP&G hardware, especially GPU pass-through, was really hard. It was still hard in Proxmox, but possible. And that's when I landed on Proxmox. And plus, that's when I reached out to Craft Computing, Jeff, and I talked to him a little bit. That was in my early YouTube days. I was like, wow, this guy talked to me. He's like big time, which he still is. And I'm still like that when I talk to him. And he gave me a couple of pointers on passing some stuff through for TrueNAS, and I'm like, all right, I'm all in now. So, anyways, that's my hypervisor journey. Could it change tomorrow? Absolutely. Is it going to? Maybe not. I used to distro hop a lot with hypervisors, but once you kind of get with a hypervisor you like and it does everything you want, and you're actually running stuff on it, it's kind of hard to distro hop. So I have a little bit of hardware around to test stuff now. Before that was never the case, but now I do. And plus with nested virtualization, I still can. But I'm sticking with Proxmox for a little bit. It's served me well. There's always going to be quirks with anything you choose in life. There's always going to be trade-offs. I feel like that has the least amount of trade-offs for me, and it's surprisingly stable, and it's surprisingly open source and great. So, anyways, let's see. Right, I gotta filter those out. Vinny, how y'all liking the Proxmox update? No comment. No comment. I talked about it a little bit. I'm sure everyone else is. I'm not. Ferris, no idea, but I played with VMware and I like Proxmox better. Well, hey, there you go. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be down to it's going to be down to what you want to support at home. For home, absolutely. It's going to be, at work, you might not have the choice of what you want to support. You're just told, hey, we're going this route. And you're kind of like, okay. Maybe you play a part in the decision-making process with that and you have some input. But at home, it's like whatever you want to do. And I always caveat it. It's whatever you want to support, really. Like, are you going to start putting stuff on there that your home depends on? Home Assistant, Plex, Jellyfin, you name it, or your personal blog or whatever, and you're gonna build on top of that base of that hypervisor. And if ESXi works out better for you and VMware, and you know how to support it and works great, and it's super performant and it's rock solid, it is. Go for it. Absolutely, go for it. There's no shame in that game. I have no shame in anyone who says they want to run some hypervisor over another hypervisor at home. Like, yeah, that's awesome. It's your environment. You got to support it, and you're excited about it enough to run a hypervisor at home. You can pick anything. I have no qualms with anybody self-hosting anything at home or even in the cloud too. I'm just like, to me, it's just like, awesome. Let's do this. Let's figure out what you're going to learn and where the pain points are. Geeko, might have got to walk my dog real quick. Hope I don't miss much. The important stuff was at the beginning, so hopefully you didn't miss it. I'm teasing. G'day. Hey, Tim. In one of your most recent videos, you mentioned about using GitOps to update your containers. Can you explain a little bit how you do this? Yeah, sure. So I'll preface this whole thing with I have a video on this. It's called Flux, but I'll tell you about how it works. And I do have something coming soon on the actual update piece. Super soon. Oh, how much time you got? So anyways, so with GitOps, it's this idea that your Git repo or your source control is the version of truth for all your infrastructure. You have to adopt the IAC policy or mentality, I guess I should say. IAC stands for infrastructure as code. So that means, what does that mean in practice? What that means is I have a Git repo where I have all of my Kubernetes and some of my Docker stuff, all of my Kubernetes clusters in a Git repo, and that is the source of truth. And what I mean by that is if I go look at my repo and I go look at like my blog and I see how many replicas are running in my Git repo, right now it's three replicas. I know that, hey, in Kubernetes, there's 3 replicas. There's no difference between the thing I have in Git and the thing that's running in production. So that's kind of GitOps. How does it all work? Well, for me, when I make those changes to, so in practice, I'll do a git pull. I'll look at my repo. And let's say, for instance, I need to change my website. It's blowing up right now. 3 replicas is not enough. I'm getting so much traffic that I need to scale to 4. No, I need to scale to 100. I don't know, front page of you name it, Hacker News, a front page of CNN, somewhere. I'm getting 1 million hits and I need to scale up. So what I would do is go into my Git repo. I would find that deployment, that Kubernetes deployment. I would look at the replicas and I would change the replicas to 100. And then I would git commit that and push that up. So when I push that up, then something else takes over. I have CI that will run. And then there's 2 different pieces, but I'll keep it simple. When I push that up, I use Flux, and Flux will monitor that Git repo. Flux will see that change, and Flux will say, hey, you have in source, I see that you say 100 replicas. In production, in this cluster, it says 3 replicas. Okay, I'm now going to tell Kubernetes to scale this deployment to 100 replicas. And that's what it'll do within 2-3 minutes, if that. That's what it'll do. And so that's the idea of kind of GitOps. You have to adopt infrastructure as code first, for the most part. And then, GitOps is just this flow or this process where you're making those changes to your infrastructure as code and then letting Git be the driver for that. So if you think about Git flow in general, think of it like kind of like CI/CD for code, because I do that too. Like if I was going to make a change to my blog again, if I was going to make some changes to a post, I would commit that post, I would push it up, and then my CI/CD would take over. It would bundle that up, build that Docker container, put it in a registry, and then tell Kubernetes, hey, go get the latest container. So that's my CI/CD for code. But for GitOps, it's more about the infrastructure around it. So anyways, I might not have explained that great, but that's kind of how it works. If you want a deeper dive or want to do it yourself, there are things out there. I mentioned Flux is one, Argo CD is another. I kind of like Flux only because I landed there in the beginning. At some point, I owe it to myself and everyone else to check out Argo CD because it's awesome. It's a lot more visual. But if you don't need visual and you want, just something super light that works great, Flux is awesome too. So, but a little bit complicated. I mean, you have to adopt. You have to buy in, right? You have to buy into a few different terminologies or ideas or processes, right? If you're going to do GitOps, you have to buy into infrastructure as code. You just got to say, okay, well, I'm gonna source control all of my infrastructure or the infrastructure you want to change. I should say that. Doesn't mean I'm like going now and Terraform and setting up IAC with Terraform with all of my servers, which I could do, and I probably should at some point. But you could layer all that on later if you want. So yeah, it's super fun because I never have to worry about, like my Kubernetes manifests being different than what's in production. Because the old way was I'd have my manifest, I'd have them in Git anyways because I didn't want to lose them. I'd make the changes. I'd say, my blog now, instead of 3 replicas, it's 100 replicas. And I would change that locally. And then I would do a kube control apply and apply that. And then that would apply my Kubernetes cluster. And then I would git and commit and push that up to my Git repo because I was like, well, I don't want to lose that change. And, that was my old process. And even before that, it was all UI and Rancher. Before that, it was all UI and Rancher, where I would go and say, oh, yep, I need to increase my replicas to 100, hit that plus button, whatever, 98 times or 94 times, 5, 6, 7, and do that, or set the replicas to 100 in YAML and Rancher. But then, then once I started preserving my manifest, then I had, 2 different states, now the source of truth was different than what I thought was the source of truth. So GitOps tries to solve some of that. But again, you gotta buy in. You gotta buy in. And it's not a hard buy-in. I think it's good. But you basically then after that point, for the most part, you have to treat UIs that you see that help you manage things as read-only. And that's kind of what I do with Rancher. I mean, every now and then I'll kill a pod or I'll scale it down real quick and then scale it back up, knowing that if I forget this change, Flux is going to change it back later when it does a reconciliation. Going too far. But, for the most part, now Rancher is just read-only. For me, it's just a UI to just check things out, to get in the pod real quick, to look at logs, to scale something down real quick and then scale it back up, or delete an old pod real quick because whatever's going on. So it's basically my operations dashboard for all of my clusters. So I don't make changes in there I wouldn't expect to be reverted back. So yeah, it's super interesting for sure. It's basically, yeah. Anyways, GitOps, super fun. Check out my Flux video or Flux documentation. I have it all written too. Let's see, Takano. I had some monodrop, Arius, but the removable cable ended up snapping. Trying to see if I can get a repair on the replacement like this. Oh, so you had some monodrop. I assume cable. I don't know monodrop cable. I know monoprice. I don't know monodrop, but well, hopefully you get a replacement. I mean, I would assume. I mean, it's such a. I mean, if you're talking about, Ethernet cable, yeah, for sure. Like, hopefully they'll replace it. I mean, like that probably cost them pennies versus a bad review, which could cost them thousands of dollars if you're that type of person that will go update your review and be like, this snapped, and I asked them to replace it, and they're not replacing it. It's like, that I think reviews have put like a lot of retailers and a lot of and product managers and a lot of. I mean, it kind of forces everybody to do the right thing. So. Hype train, yeah. Oh gosh, what did I click? Let's see. Itachi, I've migrated to Proxmox a couple days ago from ESXi. I do like Proxmox, but still learning. Hey, yeah. It's definitely a learning curve. They have different terminologies, different technologies, and there's a lot you can do. there's a lot you can do with ESXi. They have their way and their idea of what a hypervisor should be and how it should be used, and so does Proxmox. One thing that I didn't even mention, just going back to this, this whole like, why did I choose? Another big thing that I didn't like at the time, I was kind of unsure about, was the requirement for a hardware RAID adapter with ESXi, which I think is still the case, which for me at the time, I had the craziest hacks ever to try to get, this RAID adapter to work. Like, the pins didn't line, or the pins wouldn't work in my Asus motherboard. So I was putting duct tape and nail polish over one of the pins so that it would then turn on so that ESXi could read that RAID adapter. And so that was another, like, determining factor for me, because going to Proxmox meant that I didn't need a hardware RAID anymore. I could use a software RAID using ZFS, like it or love it, uses a ton of RAM, whatever. But it meant I didn't have to have specialty hardware anymore. Not to mention them deprecating my NICs, it seems like every release. So, but yeah, good point. Yeah, still learning. So I hope you figure it out. I hope you like it. If not, you can always go back. Right? Right. Grease Monkey. Hey, how's it going? Let's see. Ferris, has Tim played with What's Up Docker? I play with Docker quite a bit. I don't know if that's something else or you're just trying to make a joke, but yeah, I play with Docker quite a bit. G'day. Also, what's doing with Jekyll? What's new? What have you changed? I'm getting confused. I still use Jekyll. My dock site is still on Jekyll. Yeah, I've been doing tons of updates. Yakto, moving the last of my data to the cloud so I can decommission my 2 QNAPs. Whoa, what is going on? YWS, is it shutting down? This is news just in. Breaking news. YWS. I won't start rumors. But Yakto has, we call his data center YWS because it's pretty much got a data center in his house. But it sounds like you're moving stuff to the cloud. Oh, man. So you're decommissioning your 2 QNAPs, but you still have 4 server racks at home. I'm interested in this. I got to check out the storage channel. I know you were talking about some of it in the storage channel on Discord. I need to get caught up for sure. Good day. Hope you're doing well with the recent changes with your job. Thank you. I am. It's next week is my first kind of, like I said, full week of working for myself. I'll put it that way. Working for myself. Yeah, it's kind of scary. Kind of scary, but awesome at the same time, because man, it's pretty awesome. But it's also easy to get caught in the weeds that I create for myself. Dude, Crack Kitty, thank you so much. 100 bits, 101 bits. Thank you so much. Because cheer 1 because 1 is better than PC Geeks. LOL. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Dev Master, thanks for following. I appreciate it. Thanks for the following. Yeah, it's Muggy here too. Ager, I gotta get this right. Ager Manson. I'm gonna go with Ager Manson. Hello from Denmark. Love your videos. Thank you. I usually watch them on your way to work. Awesome. A nice little morning nap before you get into work. I'm kidding. Not really. I am. But thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you find something useful, and I'm glad you watch them on your way to work. That is quite the way to pass the time. Some of them are long, so hopefully your work is not too far from your home. Takano reaching 110 out here in Arizona. Ooh, yeah, too hot. I saw that. A lot of places are getting into the hundreds. Even China, too, is 100, 108 or something like that, or 104 for like days on end. It is getting too hot. Junior Nunez. My first live stream here, and I'm watching while setting up a gaming VM on Proxmox server. Also, I blame you. Yeah, for sure. Craft Computing, I agree. And Raid Owl, I agree. For my new love in rack mount equipment. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, once you go rack, it's kind of hard to go back, because it's like, not just because, like, it's a different type of hardware. Just simply for being able to organize everything into one space, and cable management, and just having everything compact. I mean, it's like Legos, right? Like, think of taking like my gaming PC and then my work PC and stacking those on top of each other, or finding the perfect shelf for it. and then figuring out what to do with wires and cooling and networking and power. That's a lot of figuring out. But once you go into a rack, it's like awesome. Everything fits into here until you outgrow it. But for the most part, it's awesome. And I am converting a lot of my stuff to rack mount stuff in here too, which will be coming soon. I usually don't give stuff away, but hey, I'm feeling lucky. G'day. I need to build a new host. Oh wait, I needed to build a new host last week. Ran out of resources. Yeah, story of my life. Let's see. Techno walking outside is like walking into a mini oven currently. I bet it is, because yeah, I've been to Arizona. I've been hiking. I went hiking once midday in Arizona, and it was 110 or 113 or something crazy, and we were in a canyon that was all rock midday, and I was getting like heat was coming from every angle you can imagine. Obviously, the sun was beating down on me, but then we were in a canyon, so the heat was reflecting off of there. And then even the ground, you could feel the heat coming up on you. I thought I was going to die. But it was actually kind of fun. It was kind of fun. And I know people shouldn't hike midday, but it was a small trail, and we're like, hey, we're bored. That's what we're here to do. Let's do it. But yeah, for sure. I could imagine. Thoughts on Proximox 8? Yeah, I did talk about that. YOLO, Cholo, 2242. Where did I travel to? So that was back when I did my travel router. I went back home to my home state, and then when I did that, I stayed in an Airbnb and got to test my router / access point / everything, and worked out great for sure. What do you travel for? What do I travel for? Oh, a lot of travel questions. Not much. No. Usually it's for vacation, for pleasure. More so than business. Being a software developer and on top of that remote, I mean, you don't travel for many things. So unless it's conferences, but even those, I think a lot of conferences for software development have gone all web. So most of the time it's for vacation. Don't do it a lot, a couple times a year, but enough to where I like to bring stuff with me. Relax. I need to. Is an RV for a PC? Wait, what? It's an RV for a PC. Wait, it's an... how's everyone doing? Good all here. Let's see. Takano. No, not Takano. YOLO. I want to do a travel setup too. However, I think I'll just set up a nice VPN pipe back home. So it's as if I was home and nothing to take with me. Yeah, I've done that too. I've been there. I feel like I've moved on past that, because that's just for one device, right? And that only covers, say, maybe my phone or my laptop. And so every device then needs a VPN back home to do stuff. And that's when I started bringing something with me, because it covered every device, covered all of my devices, which is, a laptop, a tablet, a phone, now, an old Apple TV. It was a Raspberry Pi. And then it covered my wife's devices too, right? She has an iPad, she has a phone, she has a laptop. And so every time we traveled, I was like, man, we have to join all of our devices to this Airbnb's network. I don't want to do that every time we go. So that's why I ended up bringing a little router with me in general. And then from there, I was like, well, now I don't have Pi-hole or all these other, I don't have all this protection I normally do at home. And so now, I set up a VPN connection back to home to get, those services from back home for every device that's connected, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, like, yes, I run Plex on this little Protectly device. Do I need to? No, I still connect back home to stream Plex, but could I? Sure, I could from there too. Like if I was, I don't know, I'm making this up, but if I was gonna go on a road trip and people wanted to stream movies to their device without the internet, I'm making these use cases up as I go. But you could see how something like that could definitely work out. But yeah, for the most part, VPNing back in home, it's gonna work great. It's gonna work. As long as you have a decent internet connection, low latency, absolutely, for sure. But you have to do that for every single device that you have, for sure. Dr. Spry, hi, how's it going? Just don't talk about printers. Yeah, that's it does. We're gonna skip over that real quick because we don't want to talk about printers. Junior, did it get released? Yeah, it got released. I think Friday. See, time is kind of weird for me right now, especially because I didn't do normal work yesterday. But I think it was yesterday morning, Friday morning. It could have been Thursday morning. I have honestly no clue. because I'm working for myself now and time is weird. No, Ilude, please, no printers. We're not going to talk about printers. The only printer I have is for my wife to use for school. LOL. No, now I'm joining in. The only printer that I have is basically a printer that prints out return labels. That's what my printer does for sure. For sure. That's the only job it has. Every now and then my wife will print out like an outline or something that she traces and then does artwork on top of. But yeah, for the most part, return labels. Mostly Amazon return labels. And even now, they don't even want them. You just take it to Kohl's and show them a barcode. Let's see, YOLO. Speaking of devices, I just nabbed about 50 to 70 enterprise servers, Dell, Sun, Cisco, etc. for $400. And now my garage is a minefield of metal. Dude, 50 to 70 servers. Did you have to like rent a truck from like Home Depot or something to go pick those up? Oh my gosh. I mean, you could probably make the money back on the copper just alone just from that. Jeez, so 50 to 70. What I mean, that's a lot. Use your own truck. That is crazy. That is crazy. Like decent servers? Like what are you gonna do with them? Sell them individually? Oh man, 50 to 70. Oh man, even if it were 10. Yeah, okay, you can sell them individually. Took you all day. I bet that's a workout. You should make sure you track that fitness on your fitness tracker before you do all that. Yeah, I totally get it. I have a friend too who bought a ton as in like 5 or 6, not 50 to 70. But I have a friend who bought 5 or 6, ended up keeping one and selling the rest and making a profit, plus getting one free out of it. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a business for that, for sure. Absolutely. Especially 50 to 70. I mean, if you sold them for $10 each, you'd turn a profit. And it's funny, you got so many, you don't even know. You're like, yeah, it could be off by about 20%, anywhere between 50 to 70. Yeah, that is a lot. Even on the low end. If you had 50 and you sold each for $20, you'd still turn a pretty good profit. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Jeez. Oh man, that sounds awesome. Just a little bit of storage and a lot of hustling. On Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. I like it though. Yeah, congrats on that. A lot of devices. You're gonna make some money. Yeah, I like it. I like side hustles for sure. Salvarius, howdy folks. How's it going? Good to see you. Oh gosh, Takano, you guys are trying to take off with this printer thing. I'm gonna ignore it. Because once we talk about printers, it just consumes everything. No, I'll talk about printers. You guys want to talk about printers? We can all complain about printers for sure. Because I don't think there's anyone out there that likes printers, unless like you work in a print shop. But even then, you would probably be like, I hate printers because I have to deal with them all day. Oh, let's see. YOLO. So you're saying we're helping pay the bills, eh? Yeah. Thank you. You absolutely are. Every video you watch, I get, a fraction of a penny from YouTube. So yeah, absolutely. No, but in a sense, yeah, watching my videos, sharing my videos, doing anything, yeah, absolutely helps. Even if it's $0, your time is worth money to me and to YouTube. And they see that as a metric and they're like, hey, they're watching this video, I'm going to share it to other people who watch this video. And so, yeah, even if you only share your time by watching some of my videos, it's help paying the bills. So I appreciate it, but none of this is ever required or anything. So yeah, intermittent PD 42. I don't know what these are. Probably printer error codes. This is getting into a slippery slope. I don't know what a PD 42 is. I assume it is. Printer error code. Growler. I'm going with Growly. Would love to see some videos running databases on Kubernetes. Yeah, interesting. I did one a while ago. It's so funny because I did one a while ago and everyone was like, and people still are, and this is up for debate. People are like, why would you ever do that? Like, no, do not do that. And it was basically like, hey, here's how to run a database in Docker. people were like, no. And then they were like, okay, it's Docker. That's fine. But now I run all my databases, not only in a container, but in Kubernetes, high available. And it is actually awesome. Maybe I should sometime. But I run Redis, I run Postgres, I run MongoDB, and I run MySQL. All in Kubernetes. Rarely have problems. I did have to do a recovery yesterday with MySQL, my own fault, but it was easy. And for the most part, it's pretty fine. I will say that rolling your own. Let me just unpeel this. When you want to run databases high availability, you got to figure out how to do high availability with each database. And so you gotta do some research. You got to figure out the load balancers. You got to set up load balancers for all of them. You got to set up service records or DNS records for them. You got to figure out how are they doing, like what type of replication are they doing? Are they doing sharding? Are they doing, master, multiple masters? Or are they doing, this master slave type, relationship? And you got to figure a lot out. But what I realized through Kubernetes, if you do it through Kubernetes, they've figured most of that out for you. So most maintainers, or even a third-party maintainer, has said, like, here's the best way to run, a high availability database. You don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Just give us a couple of values and we'll do the rest. And I'm not joking. It's awesome. Like the MySQL I run, one primary replica and then two secondary replicas, which means they're read-only, but totally fine with me. If one goes down, it'll switch. It'll be read-only until the one gets promoted and moves into a primary. Totally fine, because I don't need multiple people writing. I need one to write and then replicate to the rest, similar to like sharding and stuff on MongoDB, which works fantastic. And so those maintainers have figured it out, and they said, yeah, you just give us some values. You give us, a username and password for seeding, give us a username and password for replication, give us some storage, and we'll do the rest. And it is exactly like that. Postgres is pretty awesome. They've gone one step further, not even Postgres themselves, another team that does a Postgres chart for it. But even on the MySQL one from Bitnami, awesome. MongoDB one from Bitnami, awesome. It works great. And, I've spent many times trying to spin up databases and creating load balancers and making sure the replication's working right, taking one offline, and them getting out of sync before. And it's such a headache. It's such a headache that I was like, I don't think I'll ever be able to run, high availability databases at home. Now with Kubernetes, it's so easy. So, there is the caveat that like, hey, depending on your data set, depending on your access patterns, depending on, the storage behind it, depending on what the CPU and, the node types are, and can they actually handle this type of latency, and can, other applications that are running, or are there other applications that are also running on your cluster that aren't noisy neighbors that might add a little latency to your queries? Like if it checks all the boxes, like if you're just running websites or CMSs, absolutely. It's like no brainer, because it's so easy to do, so easy to scale. Now, if you're doing huge data sets and you're doing, some kind of deep learning or ML, or you have some, terabytes of data and stuff, probably not the best use case for doing it in Kubernetes, although I'm sure someone's doing it. But for me, for typical web dev stuff, or CMSs, for basically all web dev stuff, all web stuff, my URL to redirects, my websites, some games that I have that use, MySQL backend, perfect. And it's great. It's great. Like I've actually had less headaches running in Kubernetes than I have just trying to set it up on VMs myself, or even in Docker containers myself, and creating load balancers. So anyways, it's a ton of fun. I've never been successful at running HA databases until I went to Kubernetes. So I love it. I love it because it is awesome now. Now if I patch one server, I don't have to worry about bringing down my WordPress site, because that depends on, one of the, my one and only database. Now I have a replica of 3, so I can do whatever I want with it. So super fun stuff. Cranky Poppy, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Tier 1, thank you. Alpha Computer, resub, Tier 1, 14 month streak. Dude, thank you so much. 1 year, 2 months. Thank you. Woohoo. I like the woohoo. That's my go-to emoji. The woohoo party Woohoo Party Homer. I need to I need to add it to our Discord. I'm going to do that right after. Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, see what I was mentioning about rabbit holes and tangents. I just talked about databases, Kubernetes for a long time, but I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's great. I think you'll find it if you're already running Kubernetes. I think you'll find it much easier than the alternative, which is roll your own HA databases. And then there might be DBAs or people out there in infrastructure or sysadmins who are like, yeah, that's easy. No problem at all. For me, it was really hard. It was really hard to set up my load balancers and make sure that one is the master and the others are replicating okay, and that, and creating all of my service records. That was a lot of work. Kubernetes, super easy, super easy. If you already know Kubernetes. Small requirement there. But even if you don't fully know it, if you know how to spin up workloads in Kubernetes, databases are pretty easy to. Just read the documentation, because it's not just like you spin it up and you're like, great, it's almost like that. But Bitnami has great documentation. And if you're thinking about it and thinking about doing any of those databases, ping me in Discord. I'll give you my YAML. You can 100% have all my YAML to it. I probably already have it on my Git repo, but I'll give you it. I mean, like I said, I recovered my MySQL database yesterday because I made a mistake, and recovering was super easy. But basically, I just deleted my whole, MySQL database cluster, recreated it as if I did it for the first time, and then ran a MySQL restore and restored my databases to there. Once I was able to connect, boom, nothing. It was so easy. But hopefully you don't ever have to recover stuff. But it's just as easy as long as you have backups, right? As long as you have backups. YOLO. Sorry, I didn't even cover that. YOLO. I used to use Jira at home to plan work. However, it's a bit tricky. Yeah. I used Todoist to set up Kanban boards for each project. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've used Todoist. I've used Jira. I know Jira gets a lot of flack, and it's an easy target. But Jira Cloud is I think pretty good. Pretty good if you use it out of the box. Like a lot of people, how do I put this? About Jira? Some people blame the problems they have with Jira on the way it's set up for their organization, because it's so tightly bound to their business process at work. And when their business process changes, they have to go and undo all of that. So anyways, and tools should be flexible, but I've worked at a lot of companies where they had their own fourth instance of Jira, and everything was custom, and like upgrades were a nightmare. And then I go look at Jira Cloud. I'm like, that actually is like 2 versions newer. It actually works. I can do things like move workflows forward and backwards, but for some reason, this company I worked at, they wouldn't let you move some items backwards. And yeah. So anyways, Jira gets a lot of flack. Probably a lot of it is deserved. But I think Jira Cloud is really awesome. And I've been at a couple companies where both of them have just went to town and hacked away at Jira to where it's their own thing. And now it's no longer even looks like Jira at all. So anyways, but yeah, Jira still deserves some of that. Anyways, I use Trello. I still use Trello. I've been thinking about other things too. For my home stuff. Takana, you guys are killing me. Let's see. I'm going with Mike's channel. Mike's Techno. Chinkel. That's what I'm going. Time to update. Time to update your LinkedIn, your title at least. Yeah, I should. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm kind of in a weird spot. How do I say, like, I'm working for myself, kind of self-employed. I don't know, but I have an LLC. Maybe I'll just say like, hey, but I already have my LLC listed there as I'm working for it. So I don't know what to do on LinkedIn. I'm open to suggestions. How do I make it look like I still work and have a job, but I'm just doing a little more of my own stuff and a little less of someone else's stuff? How do I say that on LinkedIn? And then at the same time, still look attractable to possible recruiters in the future. Yeah, good luck. Let's see. Bloodblight. Man, haven't done that since college. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what that was about. Hopefully it was something good. IMG bot for GitHub is great for image optimization. Nice. I didn't know that. I have my own process with Photoshop, with WebP, CLI, and then for generating base64 encoded previews, I have a CLI for that. And I think I'm going to automate the whole thing to where I only have to check in high quality JPEGs, then I'll run some CI on it. I'll generate lower quality WebP because they're greatly reduced in quality, and then I'll inject the progressive loading version of the JPEG into the blog post. That's a lot of work, but if I can automate that, if I could have automated it yesterday, it would have saved me 4 hours. But I think to automate it, it would probably take me 8 hours. So I don't know. But if I keep creating blog posts, I'm gonna, I'll save, whatever. I'll save 15 minutes each time. So it's always a trade-off with automating anything. It's like, how much time do I spend like fixing the process versus doing the thing? A lot of times I spend a lot of time fixing the process instead of doing the thing. And doing the thing might take a minute. Fixing the process might take a couple hours. So I struggle with that a lot. I try to be pragmatic. That's tough. Oh, let's see. Salverius, print to PDF. Yeah, that's all you need. That's the only printer you need, right? That's the only printer you need. That and the XPDF or XF, I don't know, whatever Microsoft has that no one uses anymore. Maybe someone does, but PDF, that's the only printer you need, right, Salverius? Thank you, and we'll end on that. Hey, y'all, it's a little bit after an hour, so I'm just on time. Actually, I'm a little bit over. But thank you guys all so much for joining in, for spending time with me on a Saturday. I do apologize if I didn't get to your comments. I apologize. If you want to talk about something, you should absolutely join our Discord server if you're not there already. It's a Discord server with, I think we're getting close to 9,000 members, which is awesome. People are interested in tech. People are interested in stuff and memes and tech memes and just general chit chat throughout the day. It's pretty awesome. I can't thank you guys all enough for being there. If you want to talk some more, absolutely join it. You don't even have to say anything. There's a lot to read in there. There's a lot of good stuff. Whoa, light mode. Ooh, oh, we're gonna end on the light mode. All right, I like it. Wake my butt up. On top of that, if I didn't get to your comment, all right, we're going dark mode. Kind of dark mode. I know what's going on. I just still haven't fixed it yet. It's a firewall rule back there as to why my other lights don't turn off. Anyways. Long story short, I'm wrapping up. If you have something you wanted to say to me, ping me in Discord, ping me on Twitter. It doesn't matter. You can mention me. I don't mind pings at all. I'll definitely follow up. There was, I think, folks even talking about, hey, databases and Kubernetes. If you want to see my YAML, just ping me, and I'll make sure it's in my Git repo, or I'll just paste it right in Discord. Besides that, one thing I didn't talk about, I didn't talk about this in the beginning, so if you missed the beginning, you're getting some of it in the end. I am thinking of changing my stream time. and I am thinking about changing my stream day. So, up in the air, I've been debating a Friday afternoon, only because, hey, it's my time now, and I'm trying to clear out some of my weekend stuff. I don't know if that's going to fly, if you guys will still tune in. During the workday for most people, it'd be during my workday too, but I'm working for myself, so that's okay. So I've been kind of toying with that. Maybe I'll throw out a poll in Discord, and then decide from there. But I'm gonna throw that out there. I was thinking about doing next Friday during the day. We'll see. Just I'm just trying to mix things up, but at the same time trying to bucket everything into my new work week. And then, trying to kind of have a weekend. Not that I don't like being here on a Saturday. I'll still be doing stuff. But my wife, part of the deal was, now I'm getting into personal stuff. Part of the deal with me doing my own thing was that I wouldn't be doing two jobs. And I've been doing two jobs forever. YouTube plus software development. I'm still doing it, but I'm trying to get it within a work week. So we'll see. I mean, it could be evenings too. I'm just throwing that out there. Trying to get some feedback. So anyways, I'll have more in Discord. So anyways, have a great Saturday. Thank you so much. There was bits, there was subs, there was resubs, there was follow. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. And I will be back, who knows, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. I'll post in Discord if there are going to be any changes. I thought I'd throw it out here first to see what you guys thought. But if I'm not back on Friday, I'll be back on Saturday, and I will have something for you here shortly on YouTube. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys all so much. Have a great rest of the Saturday, and be good to each other. Take care, folks.